What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and this one will break down what's going on with SPY, Tesla, the QQQ, Nvidia, and many tickers out there. I'm going to break down what the news is saying about all these different stocks, what you should be watching for in the pre-market, and how they may end up moving today once the market opens. But before I break anything down about all this information and what the news is saying, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends very soon, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. Looking at SPY, this thing is a tiny bit down in the pre-market. It is dropping just a little bit. And I did mention to you guys I'm anticipating some downside for SPY and the QQQ just looking at the technicals. And so far, both SPY and the QQQ are kind of red to open us up so far. And we're going to see how they react to this by the time the market opens. But I want to note that Tesla is looking especially bullish for this week, at least approaching earnings on Wednesday, and it's holding up very nicely in the pre-market with high relative strength. Apple's a little bit green after getting another price upgrade, and so is Nvidia. Nvidia got some very bullish news this morning, and that's going to help this thing hold up as well. So I'm going to break this news down in just a couple of minutes. Let's first go over everything else. Just as a reminder, there isn't any major data coming out this morning or for today, so the market has more freedom to move more naturally, and that's the first time in a long time. To add on to this, the market is talking about how Netflix and Tesla have earnings this week. We're very excited for both of them on Wednesday. And until then, we have some bank earnings after the market closes today, but nothing too major until starting tomorrow when we have Bank of America and a couple of others. But for now, just as a reminder, Nvidia got some bullish news as well as it got some major price upgrades. Right over here, we could see the price targets from Truist Financial have upgraded Nvidia from $470 to $545, giving it a very nice price target to the upside. There's also some news that came out about how Tesla produced its first Cybertruck in Texas. Microsoft has reached a deal with Sony. That's once again some very good stuff for them. And right over here, we have another deal by United Airlines. So some good news is coming out. Don't forget that we also saw Amazon acquire Ring not too long ago. So good news is still coming out from the markets, many specific tickers. There was also news that came out from Janet Yellen. She said that we're on a good economic path in the USA. And finally, right over here, Morgan Stanley has upgraded Aapl from $190 to $220. Now, last but not least, we have this news about Tesla, as Tesla is set to power very nice growth and hit profits, but it is estimated by analysts that we're going to see the worst margins in 3 years as well in this article. So once again, guys, I know that's not what you guys want to hear, but this is just another perspective on Tesla for after how it may move after earnings comes out. But until then, I still think it's going to pump approaching earnings regardless of which way it goes. It still could go either way, right? And we're not going to count Tesla out. Anyways, let's talk about these tickers. How are they looking? On SPY, on the 4-hour time frame, we're about to get this bearish cross in the PPO, but it is looking a little bit indecisive simultaneously. In the morning, we might see this thing try to pop a little bit, get a back test of almost 450 or so, and then just trade very sideways for some time before it starts to drop a little bit more. But I believe it's going to come all the way down to fill this gap very soon, down to 446 over the next couple of days at the latest. I do believe it could even happen as soon as today if we do break below this, the support right above the gap. But I'm leaning more bearish on SPY still. Maybe it pops a little bit, trades sideways for some time, then starts dropping down, start filling some of these gaps below. For Tesla, I am more bullish on Tesla. If you look at Tesla in the pre-market, this thing is holding up quite nicely. Very strong looking currently at 287. And now that Tesla's looking this bullish, I think Tesla's going to make its way all the way up to the 290s very soon and possibly get very close to $300, if not break 300, in my opinion. Looking very strong for the next couple of days, approaching earnings. Keep in mind, I'm saying approaching earnings. I'm not predicting what's going to happen after earnings. It could go either way. But as we approach earnings, which is going to be on Wednesday after the market closes, I think Tesla's going to be approaching that 300 level, or at least around 295 at the very least. I'm leaning more bullish on Tesla nonetheless. For Aapl, it is trying to hold up a bit, but it is still stuck in its range. It's currently at 191, so we're going to be seeing, could this thing get above 191.7? If it does so, it's going to look more bullish. Technicals on Aapl are starting to look a little bit more bullish now that that new price target came from Morgan Stanley, so that's some good news for them. We could see this thing go up to 192 or so, but then if anything, it still is kind of sideways in this channel, doing the whole back and forth thing. So right here, you could see it's been pretty sideways. So it could try to pump a little bit more, but I'm going to be expecting it to just trade sideways later on. So I don't think it's going to help the market pop that much. It could help the market pop a little bit this morning, but then the market may cool off later on. For the QQQ, I think the same thing as SPY. It might try to pop just a tiny bit, get a tiny little pop, trade a little sideways. But if you look at the 4-hour time frame, we're about to get a bearish cross in the PPO. So we might see a small pop, some sideways price action initially. Then this thing is going to likely start coming down. And I personally have a target of about 373 for the QQQ just based off technicals, but this will depend on earnings and other factors, of course. But I'm leaning a little bit more bearish. I think that the odds do favor it coming down. Just looking at this technical setup right now in this time, at the time I'm recording this. For Nvidia, it's looking quite nice. Once again, it's pumping now in, or it's trying to pump in the pre-market, but it is about to get a bearish cross in the 4 hours. So it's kind of mixed. It's going to likely try to pop a little bit thanks to the news that came out about how it's getting some price upgrades, but the market's going to act as an anchor on it. Don't forget about that. So what I'm saying is a potential pop on Nvidia, then a slowdown as time goes on. But I think it's going to try to hold up above 450 for the majority of the day. But if it does break below 450, we're going to be watching support around the 444 level and 442 after that and 440. But just to be safe, watch 450 as our very important pivot zone. It is looking a little bit like weaker on the MACD on the 4-hour time frame, like it could start to downtrend. But the news that came out is bullish, which could help it try to hold above 450. So it's kind of mixed right now for the time being. My gut still tells me that it could pop a little bit for now, but it could start to cool off a little bit later because of the market. But regardless of all of that, regardless of all this talk about Nvidia like cooling off or even like trading in the 450s, that does not matter to me, because for the more medium term, I do see it popping to the 500 plus area over the next couple of weeks. So whether you buy calls like here or if you just wait for it to drop and just average down into them, that could work for upside in my opinion. Not financial advice, by the way. Microsoft had some bullish news. It is a little bit down in the pre-market, but we're going to be watching to see if we could get a back test of this like 350 area before it continues down. It's currently at 344. We're going to see if it can just try to pop a little bit before it starts to come down, but it is looking a little bit more bearish, and it looks like it's going to try to fill this gap down to 342 anyways. So maybe it's going to try to pop a little bit. Could it get to 350? Maybe it's going to come just short of that, and then it's going to come all the way down to fill this gap. So it's looking a little bit more bearish. AMD is I think a little bit red right now. Let me just double check it. No, actually, it's very flat right now, showing some strength in the pre-market. But it's about to get a bearish cross on its PPO, so it could cool off to about like this 114 to 112 area. But then like I said before, I mean, we could still see this thing try to pop off later on if we get a break above like 120. We're just going to wait on that. Now, Amazon's a little bit red after this news that came out. You can see Amazon is about to get a bearish cross as well on its PPO. Unfortunately, it's starting to slow down a little bit during the pre-market. It's kind of red right now, so we might see Amazon, cool off a little bit and make its way down to about this 131 area. There's a chance that's going to happen to Amazon as it formed this divergence. I'm going to be very careful with it, but it is looking like it may cool off a little bit more. Looking at Meta, it is once again cooling off, but it's approaching some major support around 300. That's where our 50 EMA happens to be. So I do think Meta may try to base around there. So watch that level very carefully. It's getting very close to its major support at the 50. All right, guys. So I went over the majority of the tickers. For many of them, some of them are looking kind of bearish. Some of them are looking like they're going to hold up. For this week specifically, I think that Tesla is going to be one of the best plays of the week approaching earnings. And I think it's looking very strong, especially. So watch Tesla carefully. It has some upside potential, some very nice upside potential, whereas SPY and the QQQ may underperform compared to it. All right, guys. So that's my very quick update for the morning. Please have a great day. Remain calm, cool, and collected, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you. Market to the moons. The long term is very bright, and peace out.